Hi guys and welcome. Today I'm going to be trying on one of the newly released Dior Quints that is from the Cannage collection, and that is the one in Brown Cashmere. I haven't tried it yet, so it's going to be the first time with you guys. It looks absolutely beautiful. I have tried on the coral one, done a video on it, and also the one in silk taupe, and both of those were really gorgeous as well. So I'm going to put on some primer. I'm going to use today the Sisley one. This is the double tensure one. This is a really beautiful primer. Gives a gorgeous base to your foundations, and I know a lot of people really love this as well. It's really, really beautiful. It is quite pricey, so it is a good time to get it when it's on sale. And Sisley, I don't think it's too far away. Is it this month or next month? They have one of their family and friends sale, so that would be a good time to purchase it. Or sometimes Nordstrom has it on sale as well. So I'm just going to let that sit for couple of minutes and then we'll put on the foundation. And for the foundation today, I'm going to use the Chanel Sublimage. This is the Essence one, not like the cream foundation, the Sublimage, and that's in the jar. Today I thought I would like a lighter type of coverage. So I'm just going to start off with one pump. Sometimes I use a little bit more than that. I have done a dedicated video on this foundation. I picked up this, it wasn't last year, it was towards the I think it was 2023, and I got mine duty free. It is quite a pricey foundation, but you do get, I think it's either 40 or might be 40 mils of product. So it's more than the standard 30 mils that you get with a foundation. This has the typical Sublimage fragrance. I happen to like that, but if you don't like fragrance in your foundation, then you wouldn't like this. Now, this foundation would also be really beautiful for those with normal to dry skin as well. I can wear this in the summer, but I have to heavily powder it. Whereas now, it's now winter here in New Zealand. This is the perfect time of the year with my oily skin to wear this. I still have oil in my skin, but just not quite as much, especially when you've got the fire going inside. It just makes the ear a little bit more dry. And I wore this the other day and I just thought how beautiful it looks. And for the brush, I'm using Victoria Beckham Beauty one of the new brushes that she released probably about, gosh, time goes really fast, I'm not sure, it might have been 6 weeks ago. And I got 3 of her brushes. Now some of them are double-ended, and there are a lot of people that don't like a double-ended brush, but the 3 that I picked up don't have a brush on the other end. This is one of them. And I also got the powder brush as well. This one is called the buffing brush, I think, and I use it to apply some cream products, but I really like it for applying foundation. I think it does a really good job. So this foundation gives a light coverage. I'm just putting a tiny bit more on the back of my hand. The pump, you can control it. So if you just want just that little bit more, then you can get that out without pressing the pump and getting the full amount again. So I'm just going to put a little bit through here. Now this is a light coverage foundation, light towards medium. You couldn't build it up any more than that. I think it gives a really natural look to the skin. And for the concealer today, I'm just going to do a couple of clicks. This is the Victoria Beckham, the concealer pen. This gives light towards medium finish, and I thought it would just pair perfectly with the foundation that I've just used. It's not going to look too overdone under my eyes. Just going to grab my BK Beauty. This is the concealer brush. This is it's A506. So eyeshadow primer is on, and I've also done my eyebrows off camera as well, and also powdered under my eyes. Now before I powder the rest of my face, I'm going to use, this is the newly released Chanel Le Beige Healthy Glow Bronzing Cream. This is the reformulated one. I'm not too sure when these are going to be released in the US, but hopefully it isn't too far away. I picked this up in 2 shades. I've done 2 separate videos talking about these bronzing creams, so if you want to take a look, they are in a playlist, and it will be called, I think it's Chanel 2025. So this is the lightest one, and this is a new shade that's come out, and it isn't orange at all. It's absolutely beautiful. So to put it on, I'm going to use the Sonia G brush. You can also put this on, you possibly could use your fingers as well, and also use a beauty blender or a beauty sponge, but this is such a beautiful shade. I initially thought when I got it that it might look a little bit ashy on me, but it's just a really beautiful neutral. It gives a slight bit of warmth, but hasn't got any of that orange inside that a lot of people thought with the older Chanel Le Beige bronzing creams, that they could make you look a little bit Oompa Loompa. Of course, a bronzing cream is supposed to give some warmth to the skin, and this does give a little bit, but it's just beautiful. And I really like this formula too, and I find it quite long wearing as well. And then for powder, I'm going to use the Chanel Natural Finish Loose Powder, and I'm going to use Victoria Beckham Beauty. This is the powder brush. I'm not going to put a ton of powder on, but I still have to put a little bit on since it is more of glowy type of foundation. As I was saying before, if it was summertime, then I would have to powder this quite heavily. So now let's take a look at this gorgeous Dior palette, the one in Brown Cashmere. I've been really impressed with the two that I've tried so far. The packaging is really beautiful, but the colour story of this one I think is just gorgeous. It's still got the plastic over the top, so I'll just take that out. And here is Brown Cashmere, just absolutely beautiful. And here it is swatched left to right, top to bottom, and the middle shade last. Just really beautiful color story, and the shade here is going to look really beautiful on the eye. And it's also got a really beautiful, where is it here, beautiful deep brown as well. I think this quint is just beautiful. So I think to start off with, I may not use all of the 5 shades, we'll just see how we go, but I'm going to start off with this shade here. I've got my Raffin number 14 brush. I'll use the mirror that with the quint just so I can see a little bit more clearly. I'm going to put the shade all over the lid, through the crease and up into the brow bone as well. Now this shade is Satin. It is blending out beautifully, and I found that with the other couple of quints that I've tried as well. The formula is really lovely. And that shade is really pretty. If you wanted just a really light makeup look, just this shade by itself with perhaps a little bit of eyeliner, some mascara, I think that would be really pretty just by itself. So I'm going to put some on my lower lash line. I think I'll use this shade here. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit and pop that on my lower lash line. Then I think with that same shade, I'll also put a little bit of that through the crease as well. It's actually a really lovely shade. I thought it might be a little bit too deep, but I think it's going to look really good. Just in through the crease and up onto the brow bone as well. I'm going to take the Raffin number 13. I'm going to go into the deeper shade here. The shade is a matte one. And I'm going to put a little bit in my outer corner, and I think with the shade I'm also going to put a little bit in the inner corner as well, and that lighter shade through the middle, and we'll see what that looks like. So I'm just adding a little bit at a time. This is really pigmented, this shade, so I just want to go fairly easy with it. And then now put a little bit of that shade just in through here as well. I'm just using a very small fluffy brush because I just want to be controlled with how I put this on. I'm just going back to the smallest brush here, and I'm also going to put that deeper shade on my lower lash line as well. Then I'm going to take the applicator sponge that comes with the quint, and now I'm going to go into this middle shade here. And I'm just going to press this just through the middle. And I'm not going to do it today, but this shade here is really beautiful, and I think that would look really lovely on the lower lash line as well. So you definitely can use all of the 5 shades really beautifully, or just 1 or 2 of them if you want. But today I think I will leave that one out.
See your house
So I think that the finished look is just so pretty. What a beautiful colour story. Some people think it might be a little bit boring, but it's not at all. And that middle shade is just gorgeous. So for blush, let's try on one of the Dior Rosy Glow Sticks. This is in the one, I think it's called Pink Lilac, and the coloured packaging is really beautiful. The whole packaging altogether is just gorgeous. I mentioned it in the other video when I first reviewed these. They feel really chunky and just really luxurious, and they just pull out just like the Dior Edit lipsticks. But I thought this shade today might look really pretty with this eye look. So what I'm going to do is just do 3 swipes to begin with on my cheek. I have wiped down the Sonia G brush. And just going to blend it out using this. Now, because I'm putting this over the top of the powder, since I powdered my foundation, I find with these, they don't feel sticky at all. So when I touch it now, I'm just putting it on, they don't feel sticky in any way. Now, in my video, I did try it using without the powder on the foundation, and I did find they weren't really sticky, but they just felt like I needed to powder over the top, whereas I do it this way with my oily skin, powder over the foundation, and then when you apply these, they just look really beautiful. They have this really gorgeous glow, and I think the shade is just spectacular. It's so, so pretty. And they just have this really beautiful glow. What I haven't tried them with yet is one of the Dior Forever Glow Maximizers. So this is the one in pink. So I'm just going to put a little bit, just a couple of dots on the cheekbone, and just going to blend that out using my fingers. So this just gives it that little bit extra, and I just love these maximizers. So these two together work really beautifully. So finally for lipstick, I'm going to use one of my favorite ones, and this is the YSL. They have these in different formulas, but this is the one where it says oil in it. These are just gorgeous. I've got 2 shades, and I often pop one of these in my handbag because they're just easy to reapply throughout the day. But first of all, I am going to put on a lip liner. Often I wear them without lip liner. But a while ago, Victoria Beckham Beauty, I don't know whether these are still available, she released these sets of these lip liners, and this was the nude collection. And I've been using these a lot. I think one of the shades is one that already exists, and 2 were exclusive to the set. But what I'm going to do is I'll swatch them on the back of my hand so you can take a look. So here they all are swatched, and they look quite similar, but they do have a very subtle difference. So if you're really into nude type of lipsticks, then I think you would really like these. And this shade here has some pink. This one here is the one, the most nude with the brown. And here we've got one that shows a little bit more pink, and this is a mixture, really, the middle one of this one and that one as well. But I think these shades are just perfect if you like that nude lip. So I'm going to use the lightest shade out of these 3 lip liners and put this on first. See your house, and then the gorgeous YSL, and you can see that I have used it quite a bit. Things are so different now, I suppose. I should get used to letting go of all I knew about your soul. And here is the finished look, and altogether I just think it looks really pretty. We'll start off with the foundation. As I said, I've done a dedicated review on this, and if you want to also see it in natural light, I show that in that video as well. The Chanel Sublimage line is just beautiful, and their foundations are really gorgeous as well. And I think they are particularly suited. They would look lovely on all age groups, but I think they are definitely geared towards more of that mature skin. Doesn't seal into lines, and I think it looks really beautiful on. The Chanel bronzer is gorgeous. Let me just find it here. I love this. This is, as I said, the lighter shade, and I think it's just perfect. It's not too orange, but it gives this hint of warmth, and they also apply really beautifully, and they last really well during the day. The eyeshadow quint from Dior is just absolutely beautiful. The other two that I've tried, the coral and the silk taupe, they are gorgeous, but this one is really beautiful, and this middle shade is just so pretty. And this quint is actually quite versatile with the eye look that I've done now, or you could do it how I traditionally use it, and that's with just the darker shade on the outer and then lighter through here. Or I think this is a quint that really suits just 1 or 2 shades if you want to go for a lighter look, and I think that would look really pretty as well. These Rosy Glow blush sticks are gorgeous. I think the shade is just so pretty, and I'll say it again, but I think the packaging is beautiful as well. But together with the Dior Forever Glow Maximizer, I think it works really beautifully. Give a little bit more of a highlight on the cheekbone, just for that something a little bit extra, but doesn't emphasize texture either. And just for those with oily skin, I do think that these sticks, they do work better if you have them over the top of if you've powdered your foundation, and they also last quite well during the day. I don't tend to find with my oily skin, that's probably because I've powdered as well, but I don't find that it tends to, sometimes with oily skin you can sort of eat the blush that you're wearing, but I find that these are quite long lasting. The other day I wore it for 6 to 8 hours, or a little bit longer than that. I think it got to about the 8-hour mark, and I thought I could probably apply a little bit more, but I also find that it's just easy to reapply as well. If you're out and about, you can just pop a little bit on and just blend it out with your fingers as well. The YSL, I don't know what it's called, the lipstick, it is the one that has oil in the title. I've had these for quite a while. They were released, was it last year or the year before? Maybe just last year. But the 2 shades that I've got, I love, and I wear them a lot with my everyday makeup. So let me know if you've got this Dior quint and what you think of it, and also any of the other products that I've tried on today. So that's it for today's video. I would love it if you gave it a like and subscribed, and I will see you next time. Bye.